Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Collision or Hit. Whoa, fuck. That's what I wanted to do. There we go. Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Collision or Hit. I, Tony Schiavone, with Jim Ross, and with Montel Vertadius Porter. And today on Collision or Hit, we're going to have the TWF 24/7 winnings will be on stake here today. When Xia Li takes on Ricochet, Tony Schiavone says. That's right, Tony Schiavone says. We will have Xia Li, former WWE wrestler, now TNA wrestler, the TWF 24/7 fighter, taking on Ricochet, who is formerly a WWE wrestler but now an AEW wrestler now, Tony Schiavone says. You got that right, Jim Ross says. We have Xia Li, who was former WWE wrestler, who's now a TNA wrestler, and Ricochet, formerly WWE wrestler, now an AEW wrestler now, Jim Ross said. And the TWF 24/7 winnings is on stake here today. But it's going to be a good match. I'll tell you one thing right now, Tony and Jim. I think it is going to be a good match. Wherever Xia Li was at, if she was in World Wrestling Glee or full non-stop work wrestling or being in WWE or TNA, I think that no man or woman can beat her. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about Ricochet, former WWE North Finland, former WWE NXT North Finlander fighter, former WWE 4-1 Rights fighter, former WWE Interland Body fighter, former WWE Speed fighter, but he's not going to be beating Xia Li. Well, Tony Schiavone said we'll have to go to the ring now and see how this wrestling match plays out between Xia Li and Ricochet. Tony Schiavone said, well, Jim Ross says Xia Li has only taken 2 losses since being in the Toy Wrestling Gathering, coming here the 11th month of last year. And here she comes now. So, everyone wants to know if there's a man or woman who is mighty enough, bold enough, fearless enough, strong enough to beat me. And the answer to that asking thing is, there's none of them. So you can keep throwing every man and woman wrestler you want at me, and I'll beat them. I only lost 2 times since coming to the Toy Wrestling Gathering. Well, here comes Ricochet now. So, Xia Li, I understand that you went from shit. I can't stand up. I understand that you went from WWE to TNA, and I went from WWE to AEW. So you end up taking the Leonardo Albert, Rick Zagar, Ed Oscrum, and Anthony Gachudo and Gil Kimdale. Well, I took the Shao Kahn, Anthony Khan, Christopher Daniels, QG Marshall, Sensei Dutt, Jeff Jarrett, Kenny Omega, and Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson deal. And let me tell you something. I'm gonna do great things in AEW. Wow, first off, Ricochet, it's true you went from WWE to AEW. And it was true I went from WWE to TNA. It's true that Ariel Adele, Patrick Whitesell, and Mark Sapero, and Nick Kong, and Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and Jesse James, and Shawn Michaels, and Steven Regal, and Jason Albert, and Adam Pearce, it's true that all of them amped up that they chose to fight, and even Brother Love and Michael P.X. Hayes, they all chose to let me go. But I think going from WWE to TNA, I'll do a lot of great things. Too bad you not going to take my TWF 24/7 winnings away from me. Well, now we're going to the ring now. This is for the TWF 24/7 winnings. First, he is Ricochet. And she is the TWF 24/7 fighter, Xia Li. DNA Ricochet coming up right now. Oh! And Xia Li just knocked him down with the hand to the ear, Tony Schiavone said. Well, Xia Li, just took the kick and down with Ricochet, Tony Schiavone said. Jim Ross said Xia Li is also a sports fighter besides being a skilled wrestler. That is where she came from before she went to WWE and before she went to TNA, Jim Ross says. Yeah, Ricochet didn't have a snowball luck in hell of beating Xia Li, and he knew it. And now Ricochet's going to be another beating of Xia Li. Tough luck, Ricochet. You might have done some cool things in WWE and maybe in AEW now, but now Xia Li did great things in WWE and now do it in TNA now, and it looks like you got beat. 1, 2, 3. Ding ding ding. Here is your winner, and still the TWF 24/7 fighter, Xia Li. Xia Li is still the TWF 24/7 fighter, here in the Toy Wrestling Gathering. Tony Schiavone says. Well, look out, Jim Ross said. Here comes Aleister Black, or also known as, Aleister Black. Oh, Xia Li just knocked him down too. Xia Li just knocked down, Aleister Black, the wrestler from the Netherlands, which would make him an Evenlander, Neverlander, Tony Schiavone says. Yeah, that would be true, Jim Ross said. He didn't stand a luck either, and he did say he was going to go after Xia Li for the TWF 24/7 winnings, Jim Ross says. Well, I can tell you one thing right now, Montel Ricades Porter said. Neither did Ricochet or Aleister Black beat Xia Li. Yes, it's true. Aleister Black was a former WWE NXT heavyweight fighter, and his time in WWE when he was on NXT. When he went to Raw and later on SmackDown, not really much happened. Yes, Ricochet did a lot more things on being on NXT and Raw and SmackDown, but what's he going to do when he's in WWE? He hasn't really done that much in AEW. And Xia Li did all right in her time in WWE, and I guess she's going to do all right in her time in TNA. Montel Ricades, but neither of them could beat her here today. Well, I'll tell you one thing, Tony Schiavone said Xia Li has beaten Ricochet, and she's also beaten Aleister Black here today on Collision or Hit. Well, Xia Li has to watch her back. She got her eyes in the back of her head. Never know when someone might come after her for the TWF 24/7 winnings, Jim Ross says. Well, you're right about that, Jim. And you're right about that, Montel. Hopefully Ricochet and Xia Li will go on to do great things in AEW and TNA. But we don't know. Right now we're doing one thing. We're going to take it away now to Bob Walk. Thank you, Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross. I'm going to be talking with Xia Li here today on Collision or Hit. Xia Li, it seems that you had your dealings with Ricochet, and now you got dealings with Aleister Black. Yeah, Aleister Black thought he was going to win my TWF 24/7 winnings, just like Ricochet thought he was going to win my TWF 24/7 winnings. But sadly, that didn't happen. Sadly, he got beat. Wow, you beat Ricochet, and then Aleister Black came in, and you knocked him out. Yeah, I heard Aleister Black talking about how he's going to beat me. He's going to win my TWF 24/7 winnings. I heard Ricochet talking about, he's going to beat me and win my TWF 24/7 winnings. but neither man could beat me. You got Ricochet, who is now in AEW now, and me, who is now in TNA now. But it's just so funny how I, now a TNA wrestler, has beat two AEW wrestlers. Well, yeah, but you're a WWE Mattel doll fighting two other former WWE Mattel dolls too. Yeah, so what? But Aleister Black and Ricochet are in AEW now, and I'm in TNA now, so it really looks like TNA kicked AEW's rear, at least in the TWF. But none of them were man enough to take, or mighty enough, or bold or fearless enough to take my TWF 24/7 winnings away from me, Bob Walk. Well, that's my talk with Xia Li, or whatever she's calling herself in TNA now. Back to you, Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross. Well, thank you, Bob Walk, for talking with Xia Li here today on Collision or Hit. And that's all the time we got here for Collision or Hit. I, Tony Schiavone, with Jim Ross and Montel Vertadius Porter. We hope you like Collision or Hit, and we'll see you tomorrow for Monday Night Raw, or Moon Day Night Raw.